And I was surprised by how much answering intake questions just like Pandora boxed me. So
Mm.
that's been very interesting.
Yeah, I heard on your Substack you mentioned that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's the point." Like and like even then, there's like if I could, like if it didn't deter people, I would have so many more questions. But for now, this is what it is. But yeah, I'm glad it got you thinking. Glad it got you thinking. And I saw that you had also pushed your meeting earlier. I was curious, like, is it just that you realized you needed a boost earlier, or did you just by mistake book it later, or?
I had done it later on accident.
Okay, fair. Okay, cool. So how this usually works is that the first 15 minutes, yeah, we're like kind of just checking in. And then I'm going to go over your booking answers just to clarify where I might need clarity. And then for about 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to ask you more details about sort of like your funnel, like how it's working. And then from there, we wrap up with a sort of, yeah, like a task list of like, okay, here's the sort of, I don't like to say problems. I like to think opportunities, here's the opportunities you have to sort of like clean things up. So that we can decide on a plan of action for you by the end. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
That works. Cool. And yeah, I loved in your form that you said, I'll probably feel different about all this by the time we have the call.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, wait. I'll share after when we get into your website stuff. So for now, I'm just going to go through the list. Okay, so in business for 6 years. And when you say that, you said like you've done work under 𝑡ℎ𝑒𝑟𝑎𝑥𝑖𝑎 for 10, but considered 2020 to be the start. Is it because that's when you took it more intentional, more serious, or?
I feel like partially that, and also just I was like a teenager when I first started doing business related things under 𝑡ℎ𝑒𝑟𝑎𝑥𝑖𝑎, and I feel like the tone of it also was more established in 2020 versus before it was more randomized and just anything I was doing. So
what your business does is sell short media production, video, audio, and your own writing. You also read tarot and have done a few tarot-centered events. Okay, cool. So what would you say is your main income stream from there?
I feel like the main income streams have been more related to tarot,
Okay.
and then editing, but I'm currently separating the two.
Okay.
So they don't feel meshed well together.
Okay, you said you felt a mix of feelings upon booking. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, I felt like a lot of anxiety just because of the feeling of like, okay, this awareness that something is like off, but I don't exactly know what the off thing is, but there's also a lot of optimism and figuring out what the off thing is. And so, yeah, that was kind of the mixed feeling.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I found vulnerability in like talking about these things. It's like there's always this tension between like, okay, like I know I need help, but like I wish I didn't. And also like obviously we're filming this to put on YouTube. So there's also that like, I don't want to look stupid, or I don't want to be judged, It's a very vulnerable thing. But what I've seen, and why I'm mentioning that, is there's always this shift from when we start talking to after, where there's this sort of like clarity and like, oh my God, it's not that complicated, or I don't have to do it all alone. And clients can book you by DM, email, and booking page. So how is that doing for you? Do you find that do you have a lot of requests, or not so much?
I'd say not so much. Yeah. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah,
Simple
no,
answer.
totally. I think this is one thing that a lot of creatives, we're also like, we're so busy like creating things, sort of forget like, oh yeah, it's like it's supposed to be, that's why we're tired. It's like no one's messaging us, okay, something's wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, so you said that the sales are stagnant, not really consistent, and you feel like you're starting from zero compared um, to when you were in last full freelance mode. So what's your situation right now? Do you have a main job or?
So currently, I don't have a main job. I was working kind of like a classic 9 to 5 day job for a couple of years that I left because I was burning out severely.
Mhm.
Um, and so I just had to drop it. And I was already trying to transition back into video editing world anyways. And a couple years before when I had started my day job, I had been working a more consistent video editing gig, but it just wasn't meshing well with me doing my day job and also trying to edit videos for this person just because of the amount of time it was taking me. And also, I was being underpaid for the work, of course, 'cause I didn't know that
Yeah.
I should have been paid more for the work. So I like know that it's possible to find the things and do the things. Like, I know I'm capable of like
Mhm.
creating the shape of it. It's more just figuring out how to do it in a way that's actually sustainable for me.
Yeah. So now so is your goal for August to kind of do the video, like find a way to make money from the video editing full time?
That would be ideal, because I feel like it would give me space to focus more on visibility for main catharaxia things. 'Cause I feel like that's the part that needs attention there. Um,
Mhm.
Hence the wanting to like create more separation versus trying to mesh them together.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. Okay. Happy clients say that they like your detailed approach. You're very focused on user experience. So I'm curious what that means when in terms of video editing.
Um, I use that phrasing just in regards to kind of the consistency throughout all my work as far as the
Mm.
experience people have when they're interacting with something. So with video editing, it would just be like the viewer experience of whatever the final edit ends up being or the package of editing if it's multiple different videos for a brand or something.
Okay, so like keeping consistent across. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
And okay, I love what you said about like getting picky about the shades of red and what music is playing. That's a great little kind of niche detail about your POV because there are detail oriented people and then there's big picture people. So
Mhm.
like that might be a good thing for us to keep in mind for later on like potentially, the best place for you to find leads might be to seek out those big picture people that you can see they're missing some little details in their work that
Mhm.
maybe you could bring a little bit of magic to that. With me outside of text and email, enjoy my grounding presence. Yes, that for sure, 100%. I feel that too. In a sense when we met and also whenever we talk and just like your voice is so chill. So
Mhm.
I think that's also something to lean into for sure. Um, okay, so you said struggling with everything. So I would assume that means the sort of like the balance or where to know where to put your energy, but tell me like what it means for you.
I mean, I feel like definitely knowing where to put my energy and how to kind of like, I feel like I'm trying to figure out like what the best game plan is so that I'm not doing the thing I tend to do where I get really focused on a specific thing that doesn't really yield anything bigger,
Mhm.
that gives like the illusion of productivity. Um, yeah, just trying to figure out how to make this work, which
Yeah.
feels really vague to say, but
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's great that you said that and you're aware because that's something I see across the board. And even I do it sometimes, which is just, yeah, it's like there's a fear, that happens. So then we go into the safe zone of what we know. So like we get really nitpicky and like our website or like things that like you said, it's not even things that are converting right now. So like, is that
mm,
really where the energy should be? So yeah, definitely the point of today's call is for you to leave feeling a little bit more clear on where to put your energy first. So that's good. You said you keep track of tasks, sales, analytics, client conversion, etc. That's good. That's going to come in handy with my questions later.
Mhm.
You're using Notion and Google. You said you do have a mailing list. So that's separate from your Substack?
I consider the Substack part of the mailing list. I feel
Okay.
like having a separate mailing list doesn't make quite sense for the offerings that I do have, since a lot of them are service-based versus
Okay.
product-based, but I might be wrong.
Okay. So yeah, it could be worth sort of like getting a clear idea. So because you already are thinking about separating tarot from catharaxia,
Mhm,
it would be interesting for us to kind of talk about, yeah, like where does Alive and Fragile fit into this ecosystem?
mhm,
Because like, yeah, I guess my question here about mailing list is like for potential clients, where Substack is kind of like more, personal.
mhm.
Do you talk about your work a lot in your Substack?
Um, Not as much unless it's like this is the thing that I was doing through the week, or like
Yeah.
it happens to bring up themes that I talk about in my Substack that are more personal. But yeah, I feel like the main mediums that I've been using to put the editing work that I do out there has been like Instagram and kind of experimenting with TikTok, but also trying to figure out how to configure that currently.
Okay, cool. Well, it's a good time for us to have the call then. So, yeah, you said you wanted to talk about reaching the right people. You feel you've a bit misplaced in your ventures. You want to zero in on how we can fix that to find clients that you're best matched with. Great. You also said identifying which offers make the most sense to put forward in focus. Yeah, you're considering the retainer model over a gig model. And then yeah, I won't be surprised if I feel different by the time we talk. So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess has anything changed for you since filling that out?
I feel like the main, like, I guess, changes or clarification has been figuring out how I want to restructure things, as far as I'm thinking moving forward of putting all the video editing media service stuff under Catharaxia Media, and then having Catharaxia be related to the more personal, more like spiritual, that like kind of side of the work that I do. So tarot things, Substack things. I want to explore meditation as well and kind of put that in that sector. Um, and that can be, because I know structurally can also be things that people can interact with without needing to pay to interact with it, whereas media stuff, you would have to pay to utilize it by the nature of it. Um, and in my head, one feels more public facing, the other one feels more privatized. And I just need to figure out how to structure each of them outside of like giving them their own web pages and their own intake systems and that kind of thing.
Well, I was just as you were saying that, I was just picturing like, because if you like Catharaxia as your like sort of artist name or like brand name?
I do. I'm very attached to it.
Yeah,
Editing.
so
Right.
that's good. I think it's strong. I think so. What I was picturing is like your landing page being a split down the middle, and one side says enter spirit world, and the other one says enter video world. And you can kind of show like even your, because your spirit vibes are maybe a little different than your video vibes. And off the bat, boom, it already shows that there's two sides to you. And it's like the people can enter each world depending on what they want, right? And
Mhm.
it sort of immediately tells you what you do without it being like I do blah blah blah. you know
Mhm.
is that something that would maybe interest you?
I like that idea a lot because it also has a very interactive vibe to it, which I really enjoy with web design as well.
Yeah, and you said like you're into user experience, so I think that shows, again, that shows your value without having to say like I value user experience. It's like
Mhm.
I'm showing, and I'm saying this because it's coming up in with some other clients as well, this like show, don't tell. I think sometimes we get too hung up, especially when you love words, which we love words, we're writers. It's like we get so excited to like find the perfect words to explain something, but we're in such a visual world. And also people can say anything, right? They can say, I'm into user experience, but if your website doesn't show it, then are you really? You know? So it's like people will sense that disconnect. So yeah, so that's just a little idea, like to pin. So, okay, so now we're into the part where I'm going to talk to you really directly about your sales funnel. So we're going to understand where your traffic or visibility is coming from, what's being engaged with or not, and then is it translating to sales? And which I don't think it fully is, but we're going to then talk about like what your offer could be or should be, and like what kind of timeline you're under, because I assume you need money yesterday, or do you have like what's your goal for like finding a client or contract? Like,
I mean, no, you're correct. That's 100%
yeah.
the deal. Yeah. I feel like my current like minimum goal would probably be in like the 2,500 range, and then the higher goal would be like in the 4,000 range per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Actually, sorry, say that one more time. I'm just gonna write it down.
The minimum goal being in the 2,500 range per month, and then the higher end being in the 4,000 per month. And then if I get really lucky and it goes crazy, then excellent. Not finding it.
Okay, cool. So, okay. So where do you get? Okay, we're gonna, for this purpose, you want to focus on video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can touch on the tarot a little bit, but if we both can agree that you're not going to make 4K on tarot in August. Yeah. So, okay. So we'll focus for this. We'll focus on that. So where do you get your video clients from usually?
So for me, it's been a very random process, usually through networking. Either someone I know is looking for an editor, or they know of someone who's looking for an editor and they send me how they're doing intake for people. I've also experimented a little bit with Upwork, but that one's definitely very finicky.
Okay, cool. And so you are visible across a lot of channels, but it's not 100% clear, let's say, on Instagram or even, you know, Substack, that you're looking for work in the video world. So that's definitely something that could be, you know, that we could work on, like smoothing out. Are you comfortable talking to humans about what you do? So you said you do IRL networking, but do you typically shy away from talking about your work, or do you feel very comfortable?
I do like to talk about it. I feel like I try and find a balance between not being too pitchy, not like pitchy, but like being too pitch forward, especially since being in LA, that's like definitely a stereotype here, especially in like the more film adjacent side of things. And then there's, of course, which I feel like reflections from last week will help with moving forward, the what do I share first, sharing the work that I want to center more in the future, or the video work. So currently it's been mainly centering the video work. But...
Okay, cool. So do you ever do cold pitches by email?
I've done a couple of them with like varying feedback. Yeah, but I haven't been able to land anybody doing cold pitches.
And when you say you've like, you've kind of dabbled in it, like you've sent 10 emails, or you've tried like 50, like how intense have you?
I've only done a few of them, so probably a total of like 5 or 6 or so. I feel like the reason I haven't done that approach as much is just having the clarity on what exactly I'm pitching to the person, or what I'm trying to fix for that person. So the only time I've done it is if there's been a clear show of need, or if I have a very specific idea for that person. And then also trying to figure out the kind of people I actually want to work with or not has also been a big thing. So
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Do you feel like you're visible where your target market would be? Are
I
you?
don't think so.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I'm trying to just figure out where they are or how I signal to them where I am. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
How many video contracts or video editing contracts have you done?
Um, I think because it's been very sporadic. I'd probably say around four or so. All of
Mhm.
them have been structured very differently. And I also do a mix of video and podcast things. So they've all been very different. I've had some that have been technically retainer, but then very small. I've had some where it's been structured as by project, but there's an understanding that we're trying to work long term together. I've had some that have been one off, and every one of
Okay.
them has approached it very differently.
Yeah. Okay. So what I would say for that is like we're going to talk about some potential angles or like clients and stuff and like ideal offers, but
Mhm.
with that low of like projects worked on or like a small portfolio, you're and also needing money like yesterday, you kind of have to, it's almost better where I suggest not having, have a general idea, but you have to be open to, some flexibility.
Mhm.
Because yeah, your portfolio might not even show exactly everything you're capable of doing right now. And there might be some opportunities or potential niche clients you haven't even worked with yet that are like dream clients. Um, so yeah, that's great because I have some ideas for you on how you can sort of, go in almost more like a video consultant. Like you're sort of like, let's be honest, everyone needs video for marketing right now, right? So you're like, I've got time right now. Like, let's figure out, what type of video would help you as an artist, as a business, whatever, to promote what you do better. And then you come up with the concept of within your capacity of how you can help them. And that might be way more interesting for them because very often, yeah, like small businesses have no idea. They have no idea. They're busy running their business. So they're like, I don't know, you're young, figure it out. And
Yeah.
so that can be way more interesting to them than just getting like an email that's like, I do video editing and blah, blah, blah. Like, so yeah, I think leaning into that could be interesting. As of now, is there any common thread between the clients that you have had?
I feel like the common thread between a lot of them, I continue to find myself in something mysticism or spirituality related, and a lot of them tend to be um, feminine people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so already that just validates about why your landing page should have tarot or spirit world, enter spirit world, enter video world. Like,
Mhm.
because again, you're already showcasing like this is like of equal value to you, and you're going to attract people that's also of equal value to you. And that's already a differentiating feature, right? Like, who other video editor do you go on their website and there's like a spirit world and a video world? Not very common, right? So yeah, that's great. And that's a super interesting niche. And when I looked at your, when I look at your graphic design style and your editing style, it's very online still. It's still very modern, very relevant. You're not giving like hippie spiritual like yoga kind of vibes, so so I think there's room there because like yeah, there's definitely, I'm so sure there's a market of people who are into, that's it, the online, very online world, but also spirit world, and like how to blend those two together. Okay, so let's think, what might be the fastest, easiest way for you to reach your goal? Let's say your goal is 3K this month.
Mhm.
You can have, one retainer client. That could be an option. What's the smallest amount you would work for? Like 500, 800, 1K?
On retainer,
No, just like, let's
or
say
just in general?
in general, like, let's say someone's like, oh, I have some B-roll for you to like edit stuff. Like, would you ever do something like that for like $500, let's say, or yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So, or $500 times 6 clients. So there's our idea. This is the fastest you could get there is like shooting your shot for larger retainer clients and or giving that option. The other reason it's good to know this roughly is because if it is email or in person, you can tell people like, oh, I can take on, like, if your video needs are, 15 reels or whatever per month, like I can work at this rate, and or we can, if you want to get to know each other and start slow, give me some of your B-roll, I'll show you what I can do with it for $500. And if you like that, then we can work together on like, maybe, do you ever take video or you only do editing?
I only do editing. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So then, yeah, you can think of like help them shape what type of content you need in order to make that video better, Do you think it's obvious what you sell or offer across your channels?
I don't think so. I feel like that's been a big issue that I'm trying to clean up.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something I mentioned, or not mentioned, sorry, noticed when I was looking around, because it's very, I would say, artist first. Nothing wrong with it, but doesn't look necessarily like you want to be hired. Like you might even look like you're busy. And so yeah, that's definitely something you want to be more obvious around. So yeah, so like even here is your website. I don't think your website's there. So on YouTube, there's no link to website. The Instagram, yeah, that goes to your website. But so it would be nice to have, hire me for editing or video editing, or we could even think of a cool name for like, 𝑡ℎ𝑒𝑟𝑎𝑥𝑖𝑎 or spiritual, whatever, woo-woo editing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But something intriguing, or, even like, because the idea was like enter spirit world, enter video world. It's like, that could even be your call to action, like 𝑡ℎ𝑒𝑟𝑎𝑥𝑖𝑎, spirit world, video world. And so yeah, so definitely this is going to be a big one. In terms of engagement, so how do you want people to hire you? What's your preferred method? Would it be email? Do you like getting DMs? Do you want a phone call? What's your ideal?
I feel like for me, I prefer email just because it's easier to keep track of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On your website, do you have a contact? Okay, you have a contact page. Sometimes because of I'm sharing the screen, it might not be working.
Yeah. So the contact thing, there's like a function that at least works on Mac. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, yes. Okay, it's the mail, so it'll open your, yeah. Okay, so it's email directly. Okay, so number one piece of advice is contact should always be a contact form. And you're going to get it because this is what happened when I asked you in my contact form questions. You're going to showcase who you are, how you think, and why working with you is different than everybody else. So the things you're going to put in your contact form are going to showcase your skill, make the person think about, yeah, it's true, I do really need this. You know what I mean? So highly, highly suggest a contact form. It's going to be a stronger, definitely a stronger conversion, I'm sure. And people love to fill shit out because it feels like a little quiz. It helps them reflect. It's like a prompt. It's like journaling. And, ask them for their website, their socials. From a business perspective, what is it they're looking for? Why do they need video? So you can mention that, like, do you want to attract new clients? Are you starting a video podcast? Are you blah, blah, blah? You want to get them to pinpoint why they want it or what's most important for them, so that becomes your brief, that becomes your goal. Your goal is not just to edit or to make a video, it's to help them do business better or attract new people or whatever, or book this event. And it keeps you grounded in the fact it's not really about you, also in the sense that like you can keep bringing it back to them, like, oh well, if you're trying to get the sell tickets to this event example, it's like, well then we should do this, and like it becomes, again, it's almost like video consultant, you're edit consulting, like and that will also help you before sending your email to see all their links, look at their stuff, know why they're contacting you, and be like more prepared so that you can sort of have your different pitches or ideas. And then when you're on the call, you work it out together, kind of like what we're doing now. And you can have a drop-down menu about budget as well, like, and make the minimum option 500. So it's like, what's your budget? 500, 1,000, 13, keep going. And then that way you can meet them where they're at. You can also ask questions about like, do you have a Google Drive with B-roll? Have you worked with an editor before? You get the point, right? Is that something that would make sense for you to do?
I do think so. I feel like having an intake form like that would be helpful, especially for editing. Yeah, because I have something like that for tarot, but I haven't made it for editing. I think I had it in my head I needed to have like very specific packaging offers, which I did come up with ideas for, but I feel like having something more general would also be good.
Yeah, I think, again, I would bring it back to like, when you're in the beginning stage, like you are, like you have experience, but you're the beginning stage of like creating a business. I think we overthink the packages thing because a lot of people have cool packages, but we're not in a place to put ourselves in a box of a package because you're still looking for clients. So you're going to make a custom package, and then once you do that package for a specific client, then you can advertise it and say like, here, this is what I did for them. And it looks like this. But very often when you're used to doing something, even when you detail it in a package, from the client's perspective, they're not really going to care or see the value in it until you know what it is they're looking for. Again, like, are they looking for new clients? Are they looking to go like not viral, but more visibility? Are they looking for client retention? Like, why are they doing this? And once you start finding out why people are doing it, that's how you name your packages. That's how you build your package. So your package becomes visibility package. Your package becomes event package, B-roll package, so then the person can put themselves in. They're like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Otherwise they're just sort of reading the list and they're like, I don't really care, So yeah, you don't have a booking link on your page. I don't think you need one. I think the contact form would definitely be the best. You don't have an online store, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do people say out in the wild when you tell them you're a video editor? Do they have any? Are they like ask any questions or?
I feel like because of the environment I'm in, people don't tend to ask too many questions other than like, oh, maybe like, what are you interested in editing? And then I usually just say commercial marketing related things. Although I feel like that answer has changed over the last month as well, because I do really, like, I enjoy like very digital media centered things and YouTube and that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think you got to start mentioning that spiritual side. I think you got to start mentioning because this is the thing. You also got to get ready to like lean in, to who and what you really are. But to say, oh, I'm a video editor, I do commercial work, well, boring. Nobody wants to ask about that. But if you say, I'm a video editor who blends digital media with spiritual themes or spiritual tendencies, I don't know, however you want to say it, they'd be like, what? I'm so sure you would get more questions, so yeah. I think leaning into that would be so much more interesting, both in real life and on that landing page. Is that something you'd be comfortable saying? Like,
I feel like it would be true. I think the reason I always shy away from like introducing myself under that frame, because even with like bringing up like, oh, I read tarot, like I think it's the association with like the projections of what that kind of person is,
Mm,
and I get really self-conscious about
mm.
the judgment around that, which is like a very personal thing that I have to get over, because the reality is that that's very much who I am and what I do and what I like
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very much who you are. And I think it's actually really cool. I'm sure. How many tarot readers are there in your network? Is it really popular?
I have one other friend that has done tarot reading more professionally or in a more professional setup. And that it's just the two of us. And then I have some
Yeah.
other friends that like occasionally will like pull out a deck or something, or have decks that they don't read, or yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure, again, from a networking standpoint, if ever you're in different environments, actually leading with, I'm a tarot reader who does video editing in
Hmm.
the spiritual realm, or even just video editing. Because if you say tarot reader first, they're like, oh, that's random. Who does that? Or
Hmm.
how do you live with that? And they say, oh, and I do video editing. They're automatically going to know there's sort of like, there's got to be some blend there. Or you could say, I think it's cool actually to say video editor, like in the spiritual realm, is kind of a cool way of saying it. But yeah, sit with it. See how that feels. But I think that really is your, if that's who you are, what you do, and it's already a common thread between there, um, lean in, lean in. How do you engage with people who are curious about your work? So if somebody was like, oh, what does that look like? What does that do? What would you show them?
I with video editing, it's been I usually will just give them the website with the page of portfolio if they're interested in looking through that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but usually, because of being around so many film people, they're like, yeah, of course I know what that is, and I don't need to ask a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if it's more related to like tarot writing things, and I'm like, I have my site, I have my Substack, I have this. Yeah.
Okay. I think, yeah, that's a um, great display of, there's got to be a reason. So it's like
Mhm.
any form of visibility or networking or whatever you're doing, there has to be a reason for people to go to the next step. So if they're just like, oh, I get what video editing is, like you and a million people on LinkedIn, no
Mhm.
reason to go look. But if you say I'm a tarot reader and I do video editing in the spiritual realm or spiritual digital containers, whatever, how you want to say it, they're going to definitely be more curious. And then, to that point, then if they do show curiosity, pointing them to, yeah, your work for sure on YouTube or your website could be cool, but then at least they'll be more pulled to go. And when they go, if there is something interesting, that they discover there, and or the contact form, it might be more conversion. But also, even just asking people, have you ever hired a video editor before? It'd
Mhm.
be interesting just to see, just to know. I think sometimes we're so shy to sort of like look salesy, but it's about looking curious. If you just look curious and all are also honest, like, have you ever hired a video editor before? I'm actually looking for clients, like not in that you're trying to sell them, but like maybe they know somebody who is, and
Mhm.
or somebody who had a bad experience, and like just, yeah, leaning in with curiosity is actually like, yeah, my number one tip for like when you're looking for clients, when you're cold emailing, etc. Like, um and as you were saying that, I also thought about, I don't know how good you are. Is your website on Squarespace, or how is it done?
I have my website on Card. So yeah, just
What
a
is,
different web builder.
okay, so I don't know if it's a possible thing, but I was like, there should be a pop-up tarot card that,
Mhm.
at some point when people are in the website, that can be really cool. Or even on that landing page, that there's sort of like, and you can change it every now and then, but it's like, I don't know, it can be really cute to lean into the tarot archetypes, like, oh, like today you get the Fool, today you get Knight of Swords, like
Mhm.
you're on a quest, like look at how videos can like help or something, something that
Mhm.
feels authentic but cute, but still ties in your mission and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, so how much of your energy goes into customer service right now, like upkeeping or talking to clients or reaching out?
Probably should put more, but I
Yeah.
feel like I've been in backhand land of like looking at how everything's functioning, which makes sense because that's where I like to live, but it's not
Yeah.
where movement
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
No, yeah, no.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. What's the traditional way that people engage with people in your field? So artists who do video editing, where do you know about where those people usually put their work?
So it's a variety of different ways. From like a portfolio standpoint, you'll usually have very classic looking portfolio website, probably on something like Squarespace, where the videos are playing as soon as you enter the
Mhm.
main page, and you'll have like a quick little blurb of that person. They'll have their editing reel first, that kind of thing. Some video editors will have YouTube channels where they'll post their videos or tutorials of how they made certain videos, or have Instagrams that are essentially the same thing. Some people will post things on LinkedIn, whatever they've worked on with certain clients or companies, or if they work with a specific editing agency, they'll talk about the editing agency there. And some editing agencies will also share the people who work under them's work on the website in a similar way.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then a lot of networking.
Okay, cool. And what about in the tarot realm? Where do people talk about their work?
Mm-hmm. In the tarot realm, I feel like it's strangely similar. I don't know if people really lean into like websites as much. I feel like it tends to be more Instagrams, TikTok, and YouTube.
Hmm.
You'll have some people who will do the kind of YouTube tarot thing of either doing readings or talking about readings and decks, and then similarly on like Instagram or TikTok. And then there's like the small niche within Substack of people who will kind of read tarot on there. I feel like tarot's like the rogue, like sister of astrology world. Like
Mm,
astrologers are like the mainstream approach of what like tarot sometimes shows up as, but I feel like a lot of tarot readers don't have as not refined, not clean, but like and I feel like the current astrology sector of like spiritual market is much more modernized than tarot for some reason. A lot of tarot readers have, if they're not tied with astrology, it's a little kitschy for whatever reason.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I like that you're saying the rogue sister. Um, what is different about the way that you do tarot? What do you think is your niche in the tarot world?
I feel like my difference in approach with doing tarot is just the way that I like to utilize or look at tarot. I kind of like to almost use it as like a psychoanalysis tool um,
Mm,
to kind of help people and myself kind of unlayer a lot of intuitive buildup.
mm,
And yeah, that tends to be the focus of a lot of the readings I like to do. I also will like offer to do like more classic style readings of like predictive stuff and love readings because I do enjoy doing those as well. But I try and bring it back to okay, how can we get like a clear perspective on the situation so you're able to make your decision versus using the tarot to try and give you a decision to go make.
yeah, okay, love that. Okay, cool. So now let's look at what you offer. We're gonna talk about sales. So so you do video editing. That's the most simple way of saying it. When you say that your clients have a common thread of like some sort of spiritual angle, can you
Mhm.
give me more details on that?
Yeah, the most recent project I worked on is a creator who I get the sense is trying to spread into guru land with offering workshops and things,
Okay.
who's very focused on like helping people tap into spiritual awakening in a very structured way.
Okay.
Um, I worked with this podcast, Your Magic, for a really long time in college. That was very clearly a tarot podcast, and they would bring on guests and do tarot readings. It's honestly very similarly structured to Ghost of a Podcast, that subsect of episodes
Mhm.
that she does. So very much there. There was a like indie streaming company that I worked with for a little bit that was trying to put out a lot of videos that were also kind of related to spirituality and wellness and that sort of thing, and was trying to push this almost like healthier, more people-centered approach to streaming. Um, yeah, and then yeah, that's kind of been the more spiritual sector. Yeah, the last big client, editing wise, I worked with for a while, she's a video essayist, and a lot of her work likes to center women, um, Black people, just more marginalized identities. But she does a lot of history retrospectives or recent history retrospectives. And then the aesthetic is very like, it's a very girly pop aesthetic.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say your videos in your website were very yeah, playful and like, well, these ones anyways. Yeah, this was like
Mm-hmm.
super playful, very, yeah, like online. And oh yeah, that's very beautiful, very cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's a good idea. So if you were to structure example, what would be good is leaning into you do video editing for podcasters, for streamers, for we're not going to say guru land, but
Mm-hmm.
for, you know, workshop people who host workshops, etc. So those are sort of like, if that's the three types of clients or three types of offerings, then if like having those containers makes you feel secure, then you can do a loose, you know, offer of that to give people an example. The reason that I suggest, or even I personally, I shy away from doing that, is that when you have clear offerings, especially when you bring that up too soon in the conversation, you're immediately letting them say yes or no. So it's like there's a 50-50 chance for them because they're going to say yes or no based on what you said. Whereas if you open the conversation with, do you need, you know, everybody needs video for promotion. So if you're just like, do you need video? Like that way higher chances, you know, or do you need to, like, I wouldn't even say do you need an editor, but it's just like, are you maybe even like, are you struggling or are you behind on your video reels or your editing or something that most people can relate to? You're way more likely to get a yes. It's human and you're going to be able to tailor, you know, to them. So yeah, if you want to, sometimes for our brains, it can be helpful to just sort of have these little packages in the back of our toolbox, but don't think or rethink having to like present it too soon. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is the most amount you've ever made in a month with video editing?
With video editing, the most amount would probably be 1,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you did a tarot event recently. What does that look like in terms of money?
In terms of money, I feel like the most that I made has been closer to 150. The last one was 70 because the group was smaller. Yeah, I feel like that sector is, I don't take it as seriously as an income stream. I feel like it
Yeah,
needs more experimentation to figure out how to scale it to be a
yeah,
part of the stream.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for video editing, would you say it's steady, declining, or growing? You said it was kind of all over, but
Yeah, I feel like right now it's even hard to say if it's steady or declining because it just feels very like empty still.
non-existent right now.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, with the job that you just like ended. So, okay.
Mhm.
What's your client retention? Like, is there a reason you didn't keep working with your past clients?
Yeah, with the most recent one, we just weren't like a good fit. And she also had a very small budget, so that
Okay.
I think played into it as well. And then with the one before that I had, the bigger one that I had done before I got further into my main job that I was doing for a few years, I just was burning out doing the work that we were doing.
Mhm.
And it definitely had also to do with being paid too little for the work as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. We already talked about how much you'd like to make. Your profit margin's obviously large because it doesn't really take much for you to do. It's more of a time thing.
Mm.
Do you track your time when you are working on editing projects?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Awesome. Do you have a clear why? Do you track? Okay. So, okay. Now we have to, I just looked at the time and I was like, oh my God, it's already getting towards the hour. So I'd like to get into, now that all that is said, let's set like what the goals kind of are, because it's going to be a lot easier for us to, you know, break that down into something tangible. So goal number one is definitely client, finding client. So let's just say getting hired. We're going to say 1, 2, what is it? We said 6 clients would be ideal. Okay. And the next goal is going to be, I would assume, cleaning up the website so that it reflects website cleanup. And 3, I would say your social channel, I'm going to call it clarity, funnel clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Look hireable. So yeah, get hired, website cleanup, social channel, get clear, make sure your links are where you want them and need them to be. Does that make sense for like priority of goals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now for getting hired. Okay. So you're going to have to, or I'm going to suggest you work kind of simultaneously on these things. Because right now you have all the time in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every morning, or actually, no, step 1, in terms of like for finding leads. Okay. So this is going to be your client leads tasks. I'm going to send you these tasks after by email.
Mm-hmm.
So client lead tasks, I want you to email your past clients and just tell them you're back to editing, and if they are in need, you're just available. And doesn't mean you have to choose your old rate, or if they're interested, but sometimes the fastest, you know, conversion is with people we've worked with before. Unless there's someone you really don't want to work with, don't reach out to them. But you can also tell them like, oh, I'm back full-time editing. If you or somebody you know needs editing, I'd love to get back into the podcast world, the spiritual, whatever. Just tell them what you're up to. Ask them what they're up to if they're planning anything. Then you're going to, I would say probably email 3 leads, honestly, every morning. Every morning before you start. So maybe tomorrow it can be your past clients, and then as of the next day, every morning you should find just 3 people that you're like, yeah, that's in line with my work, and email them. Because what you need to do is start getting comfortable just reaching out with no expectation, with no huge plan, just saying, hey, I'm a tarot reader, however you want to say it, video editing. I'm getting back into full time. I realize I need to, you could say like, I realize I need to build out my portfolio a bit more. And what you do is really in line with what I'd like to have in my portfolio. Are you looking, do you need reels? Do you need da-da-da? Do you have B-roll? Maybe we can work something out. Let me know if you're interested. Super simple. And once you have that first email, like the first email might take you 20, 30 minutes to write and to figure out your flow. But once you have it, don't obviously copy paste direct, but copy paste and then re-edit to whoever that second person is for it to make sense. But if you get in the practice of doing that 3 times right away in the morning, it starts to feel like it's not even a task, and it gets something out of the way where you practiced, you got seen, you know, who knows what will come of it. And yeah, so that's what I would say for that. And then another thing, so I'm going to call it online networking. You're going to take, I don't know, can be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to network in all the spaces that you are online. So one day it can be Instagram, one day it can be YouTube, one day it can be Substack, and you're going to look for people who could be potential clients. So people who are doing workshops in the spiritual realm. It could be other tarot readers or people who are showing up online with videos and interesting things, and you're like, oh, if I did a cool editing, like this might do more, like I think you could get cool visibility. So looking at trying to find people who are aligned in that intersection that you are, because they're not going to find so easily somebody who also has that, and they're going to value that you have that background, that you have the tarot background and the spiritual background. So I'm going to put there specifically in the tarot spirit / online world. Because here's the thing, everyone who's in the online world needs video if they're trying to make money. So it's not even like, hey, do you, because most people don't know they need a video editor. They just know they need reels and they need videos. So, don't even, you can figure out how to say it, but don't, I guess, box yourself into that terminology. So yeah, that would be for clients getting hired. How much time in a day do you have for focus work? Like, are you like 4 hours a day and then the rest you're like more creatively, or like, because this type of tasks are kind of admin. So like, how much time do you think you could put realistically without burning yourself out per day?
I feel like probably between 3 to 4 hours at the most would be. Yeah. If I can eventually get it to go down to like 2, that'd probably be ideal for me. But I can see, at least in the beginning, it'll probably take me 3 to 4 to figure out structure and everything.
Perfect. So, because what I was going to say is like, if the first 2-3 hours of your day is just on the client leads, then the rest can be on the website cleanup, the social media cleanup, because from what I understand, that's already part of your baseline is in those details. So what you got to do is put those other things first. And yeah, are you somebody who starts the day more mentally? Like, would you do the email tasks first, or is your brain sharper to do it in the afternoon?
No, definitely sharper in the morning for things like that.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then, I think starting your day with these tasks here, and then the afternoon tasks. So in order for website / funnel cleanup, it's just going to be, since the website would be like our main converter, it would really focus on the website first, then social media links, etc. Yeah, I think that would literally be it. And the reason I say that too is because, obviously you could do your website first before you start emailing people. But by the time people get back to you, it usually takes people like 2 days to 7 days to get back to like a cold email. So just do it now, because otherwise, you're going to put it off, So yeah, that's sort of what I would focus on first. How does all of this sit with you?
It sits good with me. I feel like this is helpful because I was definitely in a state of like, I don't even know. There's like 10 different avenues I can go right now.
Yeah, there's 10. And depending how you work, sometimes what I do if I'm really not in the mood to send emails is like, your first task could be just making the list of people you want to reach out to. So you can just do more of a research phase. So you can have a day or two where you're like research mode. You create that whole list with all the emails in it, a Google Sheet or a Notion like you're using, and a little checkbox beside it. And then once the list is there, sometimes that will make emailing easier after. So whatever works for you. But definitely when I'm in client mode, I find that super helpful to just get that done in the morning. Yeah, really helpful. And for the online networking too, like, again, don't be shy to like almost stand out. Like maybe are you on LinkedIn? Like, do you have a LinkedIn?
I do have a LinkedIn. I
Yeah,
definitely am shy to use LinkedIn because LinkedIn feels very divorced from how I
totally.
exist everywhere else. But
100%. But what I was going to say is like, it could be interesting to like spend one of those 15 to 30 minutes and see, is there a spiritual kind
mhm,
of thing happening there? Because you will stand out. So sometimes, yeah, picking a room where you're the odd one will get you more visibility than if you're on Instagram or YouTube where all the other people are.
mhm.
So don't be shy to, sometimes, yeah, be the one that stands out and not to conform to the like LinkedIn language, but, maybe posting your reel and saying like available for editing in the spiritual realm. And people are like, what are you talking about? They're like, actually, that's kind of cool. So yeah, don't be shy to do that. Okay, just so that what is it? I think, yeah, we're a little over time, but so what are your feelings now from when we started to now? How have things shifted?
I feel like, I mean, I definitely feel less anxious. I think I appreciate what you said at the beginning about the fear of judgment and things that people have, because I definitely felt that way. And I think being able to just talk very frankly through this and like it's helped eliminate a little bit of shame that I've definitely had around just like not knowing what I'm doing and the fact that it's like fine.
Yeah.
It's the time to just figure it out and get help figuring it out.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, totally. It's so you're so not alone, and it's like I have a lot of these issues too, and like it's like we're all in the same boat and we're all after similar pieces of pie, and I think like just
Mhm.
helping each other define and also reflect back like what's unique about you, it's like
Mhm.
right away I'm like, yeah, lean into tarot and video editing, like that's so cool. But sometimes when you're so close to it, you don't see the value in it, or you feel like it should be separate, or you've
Yeah.
been reflected that it's weird and doesn't go together. um does that feel do you feel happy to kind of think that you can honor those two things together?
I mean, it'd be nice because I feel like that's also been a recurring theme recently of like, okay, how do I exist in spaces accurate to how I actually am versus
Hmm.
trying to conform in any particular way because I just really don't do that well anyways. So it
Yeah.
just saves time to just be like, this is how I am. And if you like it, then we'll do well together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? As you were saying that, I was just thinking, like, bro, you could pitch doing a podcast for other people. You have experience podcasting, you have a great voice, you are interesting character. Most people who own the average business, not that interesting. Everyone knows that podcasts like help with marketing, right? So like you can also pitch like, dude, like if there's any cool, quaint, interesting cafes, like potentially pitching them having a podcast, or certain art studios or things like yoga studios, or I don't know, those wellness studios, pitching them a podcast. Like, dude, I'm sure they would be like, wow, I've always been thinking, I just haven't had the time.
Mhm.
That could be an interesting niche too. And I'm just thinking too, like offering your voice, even like doing voiceovers on like reels that you edit or things like that, also could super high value for them. And doesn't really take you that much more time, or I guess like doesn't cost you, aside from a bit of energy. So that's also another interesting niche I hadn't thought about till now.
Oh, that is an interesting idea. Because I can definitely see, I know there's a few, like, yeah, cafes that have done that around here. Oh,
Yeah, cafes, like, yeah. So you have a wide range of offerings. Definitely can be overwhelming. But it seems like you're able to convert in person by meeting people.
mhm.
So sending some emails, and if it's to people in your area, offering to meet in person can be really helpful. Um, and yeah, just keeping in mind, you're not trying to You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to go in with the perfect pitch, the perfect whatever. Your skill is going to be creating exactly what they need and but finding out what it is that they need. So you offer them the right thing. And yeah, that will be so much more valued and likely convert a lot more. Do you feel like this is a realistic plan for you? This doesn't feel too overwhelming?
Yeah, no, it definitely feels very achievable and definitely less overwhelming than whatever I would have come up with. So
Yes. Awesome. Okay, that's always my I succeeded on my goal.